the reset he does.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Esports NC State stream. We're bringing you more C3 action today. Today I'm with Bearlight. We had our first cast on the A stream just an hour or so ago, and now we're bringing that same action and energy to you on the B stream. Bearlight, how you feeling?
Feeling great, man. Semifinals here at the C3, again, Fall 2025 Championship event is something that I look forward to because we got to see the teams in action in the quarterfinals. Now we've learned exactly what they brought from Saturday into this Sunday and put it to use. Now can these same teams trend forward as we begin the semifinals?
I think trending forward is all these teams have done, aside from South Carolina, who has stayed exactly the same. Best of the best, undefeated at this event so far. Clemson, South Carolina, classic rivalry that goes back not just in Rocket League, but in all sports. Those universities are at each other's throats. Unfortunately for the Tigers, I went to South Carolina for a couple years, and I have the Gamecocks taking this one.
Ooh, I didn't see that in you, to be honest. All right. I think it's a good bet. Honestly, I want to be the one that's like, hey, I'll play devil's advocate, go the other direction. But I got nothing on you there, man. I think USC is going to get the better of Clemson here in this series. I think a little bit closer than maybe some will be anticipating, especially when Clemson came off that big win against UNCG.
Big win it was indeed. Clemson looked comfortable in that matchup. And speaking of comfort, South Carolina looked comfortable in their matchup against UNCA. Nassau taking it over one. Quick shot coming out from Beans. South Carolina goes down early against the Tigers.
Yeah, some early pressure. Nassau was great yesterday and continued that into the first series as well. And that's a great combination. You want to see that teamwork in action right off the bat, knowing, kind of showcasing yourself that you can go tit for tat with SJT and AUG combination that we've seen so many times at USC. If you can match their energy, it gives you the best chance.
Clemson taking this one themselves. Beans trying to get over Nassau with a bomb, able to keep this pressure on for Clemson. Team play is going to be the name of the game if the Tigers want to come out successful. It's easier to be good teammates, and it's easy when you have a teammate like Enzo who puts one into the top right. South Carolina start on the back foot, and Clemson is roaring.
Keeps going like this, I might change my mind and play devil's advocate for Clemson. Holy cow, all right. Giving us a game already. And so, I'm not going to lie, I looked a little bit nervous in that first series to see him pop off and do something like that against a great defensive team like USC. Certainly a great sign here as Turnip will try to turn up the field, but again, look at Beans. Able to put some pressure on from Clemson. They've been right place, right time pretty consistently, as Enzo will put on another one that'll challenge AUG, but he got to that one.
Nassau keeping the pressure up. SJT alleviating some pressure with a bump and demo in the background, but Beans always there in midfield, always attacking the ball. He will get this one and scoop it into the corner, let Nassau get some boost. 50s out AUG, and it stays in the orange half. Turnip trying to get to that one and gets bumped off of it for his effort. SJT, low boost, taking it in the corner, pinching it down. Could be a shot, and AUG is there to receive it. AUG with a great strike, bringing the Gamecocks back within one.
You know, it's not the cleanest setup we've ever seen from USC, but at the same time, the pinch off the ceiling, still looking good, still trending, and you want to be able to kind of warm up that connection and see it happen multiple times throughout this game and obviously throughout the series. So game one, it's gotten close here. You know, they can score in bunches too, but no, Clemson knows that, right? So they're going to have that in their minds. Whether or not they can shut it down, maybe another story. That is a good lead there from Nassau. Shot is in! What a goal here from Clemson again.
Mechanics on display for the Tigers. That's something I would expect to see in the Gamecocks arsenal. But good lord, tight angle double, popping it down to the ground over the last defender. Tigers coming out hot in this game, and the Gamecocks need to catch up.
Yeah, make a statement piece for sure. Come out, just have a exclamation point on. Hey, USC start to doubt themselves. I don't think it's going to be that easy, but if anything's going to do it, it might be this. But SJT going to get a little bit of ball luck here. Either way, it was kind of a pinch off the ground, and they're still back within one.
SJT just going for a 50. Nassau doesn't actually touch it. I didn't even see who that was on the side of Clemson, but it goes off the bottom of his car. beautiful play coming out from South Carolina. Sometimes luck is better than skill, but we dive right back in. Masso trying to get another goal, get that goal differential back to 2. Beans up early for it, going into the corner, popping this one down. 50's out, Og. No one from Clemson there to follow. Turnip gets a strong clear. Enzo pops it over into the corner, but Turnip is there to intercept. Long floating ball in the air. Og beats out Masso, but Enzo should be there with the pop. Demo on last minute. Turnip onto Beans. SJT onto Enzo, but this could be the breakaway. Masso with a shot and a beautiful save off the post from Og.
Not sure how he got there, but that recovery speed was impressive. Here's Enzo on the sidewall. To get it past has been very difficult to do all in long. We'll float one in here for the zone, but Og is going to be able to handle this one. Touch to himself. In the corner, he's going to eyeball ball Masso as he came across their opportunity, but SJT will be able to get through it in time. Now in 1v1 situation, but Beans will shut that one down. Right back in the hands of Og, but I think he got bumped off the play. Here's Enzo with a free net, and we'll slot that one too. Clemson back to that 2-goal lead.
Clemson is playing beautifully for one another, as you can hear Enzo meowing at the cameras in the background. I hope that one got picked up by the mic. But he gets a shot beautifully into the bottom right corner. Selfless team play coming out again, benefiting Clemson. They have done so well with it against UNCG, and now they are taking it to the Gamecocks. I think Clemson is going to need to take this series in short order, because the longer you play the game, the longer that man on the ball, Og, gets to warm up. SJT, Mechanics coming out, as well as Og. If they get hot, that's when I would be scared. What a beautiful passing play. Turnip over to Og. Team play coming out for the Gamecocks.
Masso had no choice but to go off his own back wall, and the rest of the team either didn't read it or didn't hear the comms, but either way, we're able to get to that touch, and you leave it free out in the box. It'll be an easy finish here for USC, and the Gamecocks have some life here in game number 1. This has been a very long game number 1 in my perspective, at least. It's minute 50 left. Barn burner for sure, and even still, let's play into a situation where you've left too much time on the clock. As USC starts to heat up, it'll be more and more difficult for Clemson to be able to hold on.
Clemson booming this one downfield. Like you said, this is a high-scoring affair. SAT does well to keep this one close, trying to beat out Beans. Beans 50 off to the sidewall, but Enzo is the first one to whiff. Turnip with a shot, but he puts it off. SJT with the follow-up, and finally, the Gamecocks break through. Tie game with a minute and a half remaining.
I thought that Enzo was going to be able to get to that last challenge as well. SJT found the loose change again. Clemson, you can't let freebies for the Gamecocks. If you had not given away a couple of goals, you would have had it. That same 2-goal lead that you've had throughout would have been feeling a lot better, but USC has seen that door cracked, was able to just walk right through here at this point, be able to march their way back to an equal standpoint here with 1:15 left.
That's what's so scary about this Gamecock squad. They have the mechanics to back up their play. So sometimes you get a miracle goal, but it's not a miracle if it can happen over and over and over, as we've seen from them so far. Beans selfless play and gets a goal from it. Bump on the back line. Masso gets credit with the assist, but Beans, I think, does it himself. A little bit of an assist from SJT, getting bumped into it, and just like that, the Tigers take the lead.
The Gamecocks are feeling how much Clemson's trying to be pesky, right? Be able to get those bump attempts at the very least and manage their way into a situation where they can free it up. And even though USC has done what USC does best, which is pressure in and be able to cut that lead in a blink of an eye, they're still going goal for goal. Still finding these opportunities. You still got Bean and Massell in front for a bump attempt, but this one will fall right back into the box. And Turnip will be able to get back onto this one. From the sidewall, up in the air, waiting for somebody to go and challenge, but nobody ever did. And Enzo will have to just kind of fend it off from the goal line.
Great defensive stand coming out from Clemson, and you know the mechanics are on display. SJT trying to get a triple touch off the ceiling, off the backboard, but a great save out from Enzo. Og reads it. Turnip with the shot and the tying goal. Pressure from the Gamecocks starting to build, and now we have a tie game. 20 seconds left.
Yeah, Colson, you could sense that was coming too. It's just, one of those situations. Turnip is diving, and Clemson's kind of twiddling their thumbs to some degree there on the defensive side. Can't allow that much time and space. Big goal for USC. Obviously, we've transitioned to best of 7 here in this day 2, so still a long series ahead of us. All signs point to Clemson being relevant here in this one. It's now not able to get to this one, though. SJT with a grand opportunity. Under 10 seconds left. Game 1 to be decided here in the last little bit. Next goal will win this game. This is off the back wall. An opportunity. Turnip's up for it. It hits the ground instead. No goal. It'll be overtime here in game number 1.
You can't say it was lag because we are on land, so whatever fraction of the ball stays out of the net, it's accurate. South Carolina with all the pressure, though. Og with a quick shot. Massa with a save down. Pass over. Turn up to SJT. SJT shot! And a top left strike. Feeling robbed from their earlier 0-second chance. They strike within 15 seconds and steal away a high-flying, high-scoring game number 1.
Game number 1. Incredible. Clemson able to jump out with all sorts of traction, be able to dive into the semifinals and say, hey, we're here, make a splash. But USC still able to find a way there in overtime, and 11 goals on the board here in this game number 1. If this is going to be what this match is, I could not be more excited. I know it's a buzzword for casters, but I'm actually legit so excited for the semifinals based on what we saw from that game.
I hope that it stays like this, but I imagine both teams will tighten up a little bit on defense. Right now, we see 4 saves coming out from each of their teams. But a crazy amount of offense is being played as well. We just need to tighten up on the defensive rotations. Each team clearly feels like they can win on offense, and I don't blame them. 5 goals and like 90% of games at this skill level will get you the win. But against South Carolina, you have to get 7 because they can get 6. I'll refrain from doing what I did earlier with you because those two numbers back to back tend to drive me a little bit insane. But we have a couple seconds before we dive right back into this next match. I'm looking for Clemson to be a little bit more defensive. I'm looking for South Carolina to do the same, but a close scoreline will probably remain.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it will be that close. Unless Clemson, if they even sleep for even a couple minutes, we've seen how fast this can happen. And in USC, it seems like it's a drawn up like SJT Og combination we've seen so frequently. And once you see them strike that fast into a game number 2, makes you a little bit nervous, but it's the same trend of just high goal scoring. It seems like it's going to go the same way here, maybe.
I think Beans thought that Og was going to drop it and try to 50 with low boost. And Og, knowing that was going to happen with low boost, just flicks it over, catches the last back out, and that leads to an early goal. SJT and Turnip trying to do it themselves, but Enzo low boost off the ceiling, double commit coming out. A little bit of nerve showing from the Clemson Tigers. Pass SJT with the shot. Og on the nose of SJT, and eerily similar to the ending of game number 1. SJT puts that top left.
It's a sixth sense. It is. It's just, I know where you're going to be. I can tap it down. You don't even have to look at this point. You don't even have to calm, technically. Just great placement right where you know your second man's going to be, and they're always proactive, always looking for more. And Wilson, this team is starting to click. Makes you nervous for Clemson, especially when they're getting goals in a row. Another opportunity there on the goal line. His Turnip has got 3 members of Clemson up, and that's just kind of the pressure and results of just how quickly you need to be able to get on these balls. It makes you a little bit nervous there as a defensive Clemson.
Clemson is starting to iron out their defense still, calling each other off the ball. Nassau is able to get that one out. I need a little bit more aggression from them still. SJT and Turnip are playing with each other, getting these great passing plays, but Clemson needs to keep this one slow, keep it controlled, because once you're high flying in the air, the mechanics of the Gamecocks begin to show. 2 bumps come out. Enzo with a soft touch over to SJT, and this is where he's scary. Up into the air, flip reset, but Enzo, beautiful selfless play, diving back to the ball, allowing his team to stay within 2.
Did a couple of things. Number 1, you get a good challenge, so you're forcing their hands early to make a decision early, and then you also get out in front. In addition to that, you had Og pressuring there too, so I love that touch to be able to just cut that out of the equation. You catch USC a little bit farther up because of their commitment to that bump, but you weren't able to make them pay on the other end. That's the only thing that I would like to see from Clemson, would be to put pressure directly back on, and granted they were out of boost, so it would have been difficult to do anyways.
Yeah, so far I've seen South Carolina just own that pressure game, and if you don't have that mid-control, you can see the boost totals for Clemson are pretty low. This has left the door open, though, as Beans is able to scoop up that mid-boost and get a shot on target. SJT does well, but gets demoed for it. Enzo trying to get one in, but Turnip does a great job of popping this one up into safety. Right now, pressure for Clemson is building onto the Gamecocks have. Enzo looking for a bump, doesn't get it. Masso pre-jumps a little bit too far, maybe expecting a pass, and here is where the Gamecocks are dangerous. But Enzo does well, keeping that pressure. Whiffs on the ball, but Beans is there for it. one of the crazy things about lobbies like this is if you and I were playing, right, someone's going to be on that ball because we're expecting the whiff. But in lobbies like this, the Gamecocks don't expect the Clemson player to have a missed touch. Og with a crazy mechanical shot almost going into the back of the net. The Clemson Tigers get away with one.
Yeah. Like, and so the way he was able to read that play whenever Beans was taken out of it, just realized that he wasn't going to get to it. He played it back to his own zone. I think decisions like that are going to go a long way. And now they have a little bit of space here. SJT forced his shadow a little bit, but, you know, he's good for it. As he'll just easily drag this one out to center field. Return up is waiting. Another pass from Og. That one just a little bit off the mark, too.
A little bit off the mark, but scary as South Carolina gets these opportunities, and they will tighten up as the game goes on. Enzo with a backflip, SJT on the back wall, trying to put this one down, but couldn't get the touch on it. Turnup still sending it, and Enzo does well to 50 it into the corner, into safety. Nassau taking time as much as he can before Turnup gets there. SJT pops this one over, but Enzo with a great touch, buying his team precious seconds to get some boost, recover, and recuperate before the South Carolina attack continues.
Nassau didn't get the touch he wanted to. Ended up going off the sidewall, so it was an open side, so nothing harm done. What a pass there. Good velocity on that shot, too. The accuracy, the only thing keeping that out. It wasn't by much that he missed. Turnup is going to play it right back in. Nassau shuts it down there with great presence and positioning there on the back wall. He's got Og still on it, glued to it, trying to toss it down to SJT. That sense that, you know, they have together was read, actually, by Clemson, knowing because they've seen it so many times already in the series.
South Carolina Turnup on the ball with a flick over one, but Enzo does well to tap this one close, keep it close, and try to 50 SJT, which he does. Beans going on, it gets the past one, but Turnup with a great demo, able to swap this momentum quickly. Turnup trying to show off the mechanics warm up. SJT with a whiff, but it's super awkward for Enzo, but he does well to recover, get this one over into the corner to Nassau, and Clemson's Tigers stand strong on defense with 30 seconds left.
Is going to play it high, kill some more time off this clock here. One is shot from an angle, but it'll hit off a couple of posts, stay out. Now a flick play here from Clemson. They know that they're down by 2. They only have 20 seconds left. Can't give away possession like this. Of course, Og to chase here to the corner, but he's so good at being able to control this ball and kill more clock. But it falls down to Enzo. This one off the corner. Easy read for Turnup to make, and easy sequence out of the zone. Another bump for good measure to kill it even further, and that will solidify it here in this game number 2. The USC will go up, and, you know, as much as Clemson has kept it close. And again, another situation, you just can't find the goal scoring here in this one, and that's why USC is out to their 2-0 lead.
I like the ideas of Clemson as they actually take a timeout to kind of reset, hit the mental check. But I like what they're trying to do. They're trying to swap the play style. Unfortunately, when you go against South Carolina, they're mechanical. I've noticed Clemson trying to be a little more passive. They were letting the Gamecocks just take their space on the ball and hoping that a weak shot would come out from it. But if you do that, the South Carolina team knows you will. They're like, oh, you'll take your hands off the gas or your foot off the gas for a second, and we will too. They matched that pace extraordinarily well and were able to throw the ball mid. Look, 100% goal participation coming out. We had a crazy amount of shots, 15 on the side of the Gamecocks, and just one lone shot for Clemson.
Yeah, exactly. Kept them where they couldn't even get a shot off at all because you're defending well. That's how you know your defense is working. It's not because you're making a ton of saves. It's because the other team doesn't have shots at all. You have to be proactive and cut into those lanes, just like we talk about SJT and Og all the time. Clemson has that same connection. It's just that USC is that step ahead to be able to cut it off. It's hard for them to get past midfield and be the team that they'd like to. And that's why Clemson is going to talk it over here. Enzo called that timeout, and it's just simply to be, how do we match this? It's very quick play. You haven't been able to generate offense since game number 1. It was a lot of offense, granted. It's almost how do you find that balance by between letting the play come to you and also proactively shutting them down. It's a hard game to play, and it's why USC has been so strong all weekend long.
Clemson has done a really good job, equally strong, but a little bit less so in this series so far. One of the things that stood out to me when they were playing against the Greensboro team was that they were aggressive all the time, and I think that's because they felt that they were better than them. I think you have to have that same confidence. Whether it's reckless, you still have to have it because that's what keeps you in games. And I think they respect the South Carolina players just a little bit too much. And that patience that they have, South Carolina has been taking advantage of. They're starting to find one another again. Beans puts it a little bit over Nassau's head, but you can see the disruption that this patience is causing on the Clemson Tigers backline.
Talked to USC yesterday, at their interview at the tail end of what was a crazy series that we got to see to close out against Winthrop, and they were able to find that win. And SJT said, "We're doing little stupid things that we know that we can fix. They know that they can play a little bit better. The fact that they're fine-tuning their gameplay is why you see goals like this. It's not satisfied with your Saturday that was already spectacular. It's getting better and better as time goes on, and you see that manifest against a great and strong Clemson team coming off a big win in round one."
Clemson needs to get back into this series. The Gamecocks have dominated, going 3-0 and looking to go undefeated to win this tournament. Og trying to do it himself. Mechanics on display, getting past two, but Enzo is there. Look at that read, trying to get it over to Beans. Beans not enough boost to make a play happen, but this is the pressure that I like from Clemson. Quick outlet passes, trying to get something going on the side of their offense, taking their time when they have it, just like South Carolina did to them earlier. One of the hardest parts about taking your time is being able to flip that switch back on. I know it's tempting to just chill, but you cannot do this against the Gamecocks. Taking a half second, like a little flick of the light switch, like the lights are jittering on and off, is totally okay, and it works. But you got to get back into it, and I like what I see from this Clemson squad so far.
Here we go. At that box, basically with their name on it as well. Able to punch it past Enzo before he can make a splash, keep it in the zone for Clemson. Go high for Beans, looking for that pinch play. Although it did technically go off both cards, wasn't enough velocity to really challenge the back line here in UFC. Arguably left in that moment. In that 1v1, but now Clemson's out of position here. Too committed. You've got Alg out in front. Flip reset. Great job from Beans to challenge that early. Otherwise, that would have definitely spelled trouble.
Trouble indeed as the Gamecocks get a demo on the back line. The pressure begins yet again. Beans, calm and composed, able to save that one away into the corner. Nassau chasing this one, trying to find Enzo, but Enzo low boost, Beans low boost, Nassau low boost. This is where the Gamecocks strike. Crazy shot attempt coming out from Turnip, trying to flip and rotate under the ball, delaying it by just that half-second difference. SJT able to get by one. No one there from the Gamecocks to respond quickly, and that allows the Tigers to get back to that ball and keep this a one-goal game.
Beans trying to get proactive. That one off that post. I'd like to see Clemson play a little bit farther away from their goal line. It looks like they're kind of collapsing down back towards the net, and when that happens, that's going to be USC all day long, finding those passes at the top of the box. Is what we saw in game one, early and late. See Og with the clean fake two. It'll go off the corner. One misses, but it was followed by SJT. That one's wide open, and Enzo cheating will catch one and equalize here.
Defensive stand into a quick counterattack. I like Enzo holding space in the midfield, trusting his teammates to save the shot. There was a double commit from the Gamecocks that came out, and that led to the Clemson goal. And we saw that time and time again against the Greensboro squad, where they were patient on defense. So far in this series, it really hasn't worked out because South Carolina has been able to just out-mechanic them. But in this instance, it does work out. South Carolina being a little bit too antsy, trying to get a 2-goal lead, and because of that, they are punished and is now tied again with just under 2 minutes left.
I like how USC is having to adjust completely, like full load, trying to switch things up here. Let's throw somebody out in front to clear out the defensive sequence, and that's been good from Clemson to be able to force this because it keeps them from doing all the other things, right? It's a little distraction from their play style of just being able to pass and own the middle of the field. And right now, Og, though, going to make it difficult and will strike back, so USC will grab that lead right off the back.
I think this is a dangerous play style. This is like playing with fire. Nassau trying to put this one over into the corner, but a missed touch, just a half second too late on his flip, just causes it to pop out to the midfield. Clemson, I don't hate this play style, but it's very defensive, very scary. It relies on South Carolina messing up on their touches, and they're 4-0 for a reason, looking to go 5-0.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not sustainable so far against this Gamecock squad. Sometimes it works, but you have to have cleaner rotations. And right now, the Gamecocks are as clean as can be. SJT down to Og, making it a 2-goal difference with 1:12 remaining.
Make life easy for yourself. Find where Clemson is number one. When you go ceiling high, it's not just to make a flashy play, right? You know, It allows you to see the rest of the pitch and where the defenders are positioned, and then you can put it in that one spot that the defenders can't get to. And then if you're not able to get to that, that throws off everything. Suddenly it's who's going to go for it. I'm backwards. I don't have boost. And it causes so much trouble. And USC knows this, has been really good at being able to sense that. The blood in the water, if you will. Use that metaphor, but USC, again, just kind of marching away. And having their way here in a semifinals matchup just makes you think, is USC this deadly? And are they going to, is there anybody that can really go up against this team at this point?
It's one of the two teams. I hope you guys can hear the screaming in the match between Charlotte and Winthrop. One of those teams is energized and ready to be here. South Carolina might have to play them, but not if the Tigers have anything to say about it. We have seen crazier things than reverse sweeps, but it's going to be a tall task against the Gamecocks, especially when you don't have any pressure and nothing to show for it in the last 2 games. This touch coming out here, just a whiff on the ball. Beans tries to flick it over, but great patience from the Gamecocks, not letting Clemson get back into this game. Back pass from Turnip over to SJT. Nassau trying to rush the issue, but it's too little, too late. 2 seconds left, and the rest of the game is just a formality. As soon as this ball hits the ground, South Carolina will go up 3-0 in the series.
Simple pace controlling, Colson, it's just, if they're going to slow down the pace, they say that's totally fine. We're going to let you come to us then. And if you're not going to make plays, if your pacing is a little bit slower anyways, so then you challenge at the right time, and suddenly that's not going to work. And then you try to up that speed, but you're just playing into the Gamecocks' bread and butter at that point in time. You're right in their wheelhouse of we're just going to transition back and have that speed. Clemson try to stick to the guns when we talk about a slower play style to try to calm things down a little bit, and USC was still able to find it. Yeah, they look awkward in some moments, but nothing that really shook the Gamecocks to the point where they weren't able to recover. So I think USC's got a great chance to just close out here in 4, to be honest. Clemson's tried and thrown everything at the wall. Unfortunately for them, nothing's stuck as far as the results go in these games, but they'll still have one more chance. Miracles are possible here, Colson, and that's why we play this one out.
I'm looking for something more akin to the shootout that we saw in game number 1, where Clemson had a crazy amount of offense, but now South Carolina has maintained that offense, and Clemson hasn't been able to enable it. They quadrupled their shots from last game, but again, they're only at 4. That's ridiculous. South Carolina, like you said earlier, is so proactive that it is keeping Clemson at bay. I don't mind these fake challenges for the teammates playing it slow, but you still have to do that upfield. You're only doing it at your net, and that is where it's most threatening. South Carolina has done a great job containing this Clemson team.
I got the cast with Axe, who's the coach for USC. He's actually standing over there from our perspective, and he had great things to say, but said those improvements needed to happen too. Talked about how SJT is just that calm of a player and how every single player is until they start to get that momentum. And so that's why you see goals go in over and over again just so quickly in succession whenever they get that hype. So if you're Clemson, your best game plan coming in was, how do we interrupt that, right? How do we get into their comms, get into their heads? And well, a good way to do that is get an early lead. So step 1 at the very minimum here for Clemson.
The pressure from Beans at this midfield is what has made them so successful this far, and that's, I think, why you saw the success right there. Beans, even just using all of his boost, getting an awkward touch for the South Carolina defenders to read, allows Nassau to put one on target, bottom right. That's beautiful. Enable the guy. He's having a day already as he gets the save on the back line, doing it both on defense and offense. Enzo puts this one into the Gamecock half, but Turnip has it. He's so dangerous with a full tank of boost over 1, but Beans does well to get there. This is where Clemson needs to have that midfield pressure. You're giving them way too much time on that ball if you want to stay in this series. I know you have the goal lead, but you've had the lead before, and South Carolina comes back and puts 6 on you in game number 1. That is when you had the lead. You had 5 goals. Keep it going. Be aggressive, because if you don't, it might as well already be over.
They're being a little bit more so aggressive here as Enzo was able to flip past 1, and now you see them right back into the zone. Nassau's got the opportunity to make anything of it, right? No shots generated from that little sequence. Nassau's not done quite yet. Looks for a touch, lingering on the back wall. They try to play it low, but Beans is going to try to challenge it. A good tap down there from Enzo. Need the third to come in. Nassau off 2 posts.
Wow.
What a save from SJT. Not sure how he dug that one out, but he sure did.
SJT doing an absolute wonderful save. I can't believe that didn't go in. That ball went off both posts. It was about to go off the third one. It was just saved away. Beautiful defensive stand from the Gamecocks, and something they're not used to so far in this series. Turnip does well to pop this one into the corner. Og lets the ball go mid, trusting that the aggression from Clemson isn't there, and he was right for it. Now he gets a free ball, tries to 50 it out, and Nassau gets a favorable 50 for them. Enzo beats out the Gamecocks defender, popped mid. Let's see if something can come from it. Oh, gets a crazy touch through. Turnip reads it. Wow! What a pre-jump coming out from Turnip. Are you kidding me? Og with the skim of a touch. Turnip just hovering in the air and bangs that one down, tying the game up with just over half the game remaining.
Can't recall a time where I've seen an anticipation that strong in a play. That was unbelievable. You're already up, and you have two decisions. If he misses, you're able to get to it. But just anticipating and knowing, saved by Nassau, which is now two. Both of these teams in these moments are reading the play so well. This has been quite the cooker for a 3-0 in the match score line type of game, but both teams showing up in moments. USC's been a little bit stronger, but this has been one that's been super fun to watch. No beans! Oh, that one was in. That one was in. They saved their own goal. Really needed that one if you're Clemson.
Unlucky touch. It is what it is. Yeah, pulling a Colson, as my prod team says. Earlier in the show match, I saved a goal away from my own team. Sorry about that, Bearlight. Bearlight was on my team, but I should be apologizing to Skyline. But I need to lock back in, focus on what is instead of the pass. Beans should have gone for a bump, and unfortunately trying to get the touch, trying to get the glory, trying to get the goal is what ends up saving it. SJT and the Gamecocks holding on strong. Turnip trying to get back to this one. Double commit out from South Carolina. Beans just a little bit too much on it, trying to pass back to Enzo. Enzo popping this one back up over to Beans, but Og does well to intercept. SJT over to Turnip. Turnip taking his time on the wall. Enzo does well to keep it there, make sure it stays in a non-threatening position. Cleared over. SJT looks to control it as ping pong begins in game number 4.
Challenged by Beans now in the zone. Uh-oh, look out. The transition play, that one might be on target. It's on the crossbar, stays out. And also didn't stay into the box either. It went a little bit high, but the follow-up's there. SJT strikes through in a hurry. Uh-oh, Clemson. Late lead for USC.
Og with a beautiful bump onto the guy, Nassau. Nassau has been everywhere for this Clemson team, so why not take him out of the play? Og says, get out of here. We'll trust that my teammate can score on year 2, and he was right. Gamecocks take a late lead in this series, but not if anything Clemson has to say about it. No one there for the pass mid. This is the aggression that needs to be on the Clemson side. If someone was there, it was wide open, but because we're a little bit afraid, because we're not taking the space that we have, we're leaving wide open shots, we're leaving wide open goals on the table. And if you keep doing that, the last 45 seconds of this game will be rough.
Story of the last 2 games, Colson. It's just, let's play great defense. That's fine and all. But eventually, South Carolina finds ways to break through anyways, and then you've left yourself without offense. In those moments where you did create offense, you weren't as opportunistic as you could have been in those moments. Now it's 23 seconds left. Tournament lives on the line here for Clemson. So they're going to try to turn this one in, but they're completely discombobulated. Could not find the right connection here. Now with 12 seconds left, here's Beans looking for Enzo, going to be interrupted. Now back in across the field here for Enzo, but it's going to be left there on a platter here for Turnip, and now it's going to be the length of the pitch here for Clemson or die. And Og, some reason, going to keep it up here. We'll keep eyes on it. He will kill it eventually, and the Gamecocks complete the sweep and have punched their ticket to the C3 Fall 2025 Finals.
And we will see who they end up facing over on the C3 Esports League broadcast. We have an absolute heater. It looks like Winthrop is currently up 3-0 against the 49ers. Not something that I could say I could expect, but wow, that would be a crazy matchup. But it is not over. 49ers up 3-2. But let's focus in, dive back into this matchup that we just saw. Domination is the name of the game. On offense, on defense, everything the Gamecocks did was beautiful, near perfect. What do you think they did that led them to their victory?
They knew what Clemson was looking for, and they anticipated so well. And it wasn't just those big plays that you called out. You know, the flashy ones where you're getting reads, getting up early, and being able to tap into the back of the net. But I'm talking about being able to jump in on the play when you need to. It's not just the second man that was active; the third man knew when to jump in at the end of the day and become a problem for Clemson to trap them in there. And because they had that support coming back, they had the speed, they had the boost control, and those are the moments that you can actually start to march forward a little bit and give Clemson those difficult times. They knew exactly where Clemson wanted to be defensively, and they were able to put it in the exact spot where they couldn't get to it and made it very difficult. Caused that confusion that eventually manifested itself, and it grew and grew and grew as far as the disorganization goes defensively for Clemson because they were on it from A to Z. It was just nothing further in my eyes than Gamecocks coming in and knowing what they needed to do and accomplishing in that, plain and simple.
Absolutely
Yep.
beautiful play coming out from these two rivals. Unfortunately for the Tigers, it was what it was. They couldn't come out with a game win, but we, I think, are tossing it over to an interview with one of the Gamecock players. I think we can shoot it over. Oh, actually, they're coming to us. I thought I was on A stream for some reason. They're actually
Let
coming
them
to
come
sit
to us.
down
It's
over here.
exactly right.
I
Yeah,
just, my
I love
glory
it.
on the A stream. I was so used to it. Shame on me for that. So stay tuned. We will be right back with an interview with one of the Gamecocks.
Tired of waiting, lost while I'm sitting at home. Dream of a new destination, lust for something unknown. Oh, you better leave it alone. And you know I'd rather get up and go. How long can I lie around waiting for it? Sometimes you gotta walk out the door. No limits, no ceiling, no crown. No pressure gonna hold me down. No stopping till I break every rule. No limits to what I can do. Nowhere is too far away. No border gonna stand in my way. No wall that I can't break through. No limits to what I can do. Tired of waiting, lost while I'm sitting at home. Dream of a new destiny.
Welcome back to the Esports at NC State stream. Today, I am joined with SJ2. Dominant series against the Clemson Tigers. What do you think your team did so well that led to that dominant victory?
Uh, we had really good teamwork today. The comms were flowing, had a lot of passes, just full on teamwork was the main goal here.
So, coming out of yesterday, you guys were undefeated. Remain undefeated with a win over UNCA, now over Clemson. Your guys' teamwork has taken a level up. Yesterday, I noticed a lot of solo plays, a lot of solo peeking, and you guys have the mechanics to do so. Why do you think you focused more on these team passing plays today rather than what you did yesterday?
Yeah, so the problem is when you go for these solo plays and mechanics and stuff, you can tend to start missing touches or simple stuff. We decided to slow that all down, play 50s, focus on the team plays, just because we're not going to sit here and put a bunch of shots on net solo. Like in our games against Winthrop and Charlotte, or more specifically Winthrop, they would have almost 10 saves a game. And it's just because we're throwing shots and solo plays at the net. But working together, we can get more creative and finally put it in.
Nice. So I don't know how that game just ended, but on the A stream, we have Winthrop against Charlotte. Which team are you hoping to get in the finals? Because yesterday in one of our last matches, I heard y'all throwing jabs at one another. Are you looking to face off against Winthrop, or are you trying to make sure that Charlotte doesn't get their four-peat?
Well, I would. love to face either team. Uh, I think Charlotte a little more because the past 3 years we've kept losing to them. We want to be able to take them down to finally win this trophy.
Absolutely.
But Winthrop, I mean, it's always exciting playing them, and especially me and Phantom were going at it yesterday. Yeah, he's a really good player, and obviously he's getting loud, so it's a lot of fun.
We're having a blast here at the LAN. Thank you again to Visit Raleigh for sponsoring. Thank you again to NC State for hosting. SJT, before we go, this was our last game of this stream. The rest of this tournament will be on the C3 Esports League. I'll say it again, C3 Esports League over on that Twitch channel. But before we go, SJT, do you have any shout outs that you want to give?
Yeah, shout out to my club, the Gamecock Esports Club. We have a lot of support from the guys over there, and it's always a good time.
I'm glad to hear it. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you to our casters. Thank you to Prod. My name is Colson on behalf of everyone. Thank you for watching the C3 LAN.